Okay, guys, so I'm just getting ready to go to the Marine Corps ball with my husband, and I do this every year. I lag. I'm surprised I even bought a dress 3 weeks ago. Actually, I bought two dresses. So what I'm showing this is because I have to do my nails. I was not going to. My husband says, "You have to. I tell everybody about how awesome you are. They have to see your skills." And it's just the time of the year to put people, I don't know, just put them out there. And so I'm like, I don't want to. And so literally the thing starts in like 12 hours and I'm just here. So I gotta get it done. So I don't even know what I want to do with my nails yet, but it has to coordinate with both of these dresses. So I already even picked out jewelry for both dresses. But this one is just purple and long, a little ruching. It has a little bit different on here. It's not, the little detail here is like more brassy, not even brassy, more like gunmetal. And then the one I think I'm going to wear that I prefer to wear, like I said, I bought two of them. Oop, there goes the jewelry. Is this one, of course, really tight. This one's super tight. It has a really nice long slit, which I love. Right here, going up the leg. And then it just has a nice top. So you don't have to wear a special bra or anything with it, which is another concern. I always hate wearing strapless. You know, those kind of things we all have to deal with. I have like 45 different undergarments here I'm going to bring with me because I'm like, I don't know which one's going to work, what's going to look better, where the bulges are going to be hanging out, you know, you got to check all that stuff. So I do have this dress and it's just, it's simple, but I guess because of the sequins, it makes it a lot fancier. So I prefer to wear this one. We will see what happens. I do have shoes for both of them. I have everything separate for both of them, you know. So right now I think what I'm going to do is just like something silver, even though for everything else I picked more gunmetal type materials, even my shoes. But silver never hurts. I think it's pretty, it's flashy, you know, whatever. So I do have different shoes here. Excuse me, I'm still under the weather a little bit. So I have these sequincy ones. I have this that are just silver. And then I have these that might go with the other dress that are killer. I love these shoes. They're so pretty. And they're not super formal, but I think we can get away with it, especially because the dress is super long. And then if you just see the toe area, it just looks kind of like those same kind of gunmetal colors as that. So let's go downstairs and get these nails on. Of course, I'm using dual forms because I need them quick and I don't want to waste a lot of time. So let's go do that. Okay, so I'm just in my dining room as always. I always like to show you guys, I have a glass work surface here, but you know, whatever work surface, as long as you're not messing up your nice table, because spills happen. I have a towel, and then I have those little towels that I get from Sally Beauty, but you don't have to use those. Brownie paper towels are really great for doing your nails and wiping down, but any paper towel, of course. So I have that. Basics. We always need a sanitizer or a nail purifier or dehydrator. This does all of it at one, but you can have a sanitizer and a dehydrator. I know at Sally's, because I always say Sally's because it's a place where you can go, you know, they're everywhere, and grab a dehydrator. It's like in a little glass bottle, and a sanitizer. It's blue and it's in a spray bottle. I don't even know where mine is. I always had it to show you, but I don't have them right now. We always want to have some alcohol. 99% would be great, you know, higher percentage alcohol, but it's just for cleansing if you don't have a good dehydrator or sanitizer. This acetone I just grabbed real quick, but this is from the Dollar Tree actually. That alcohol I showed you is from Walmart. And this one they carry now 100% acetone at the Dollar Tree, which is great. So that's just to help me remove polish and things like that. If you want to do some nail artwork, it helps you with that too, but we can talk about that in a little while. Then you're gonna need, of course, your primer, always a primer. This one is an acid-free protein bonder, and a lot of companies are going towards that, but you can use your acid primer, or it's not gonna say acid primer, it's just gonna say primer, it's not gonna say acid-free. Whatever works for your nails. So I use Nailite Something Wonderful because I use the Nailite line, the Omega line. And you can order this stuff, I think they're based out of Florida. They always ship really fast. I've had a great service with them. I've never had any problem anytime, except for one time I think I got a pink nail bed that was supposed to be like opaque, and it was like kind of see-through, and they sent me another one because it was obviously labeled wrong. So I use the Omega acrylic powder with the Omega liquid, which I haven't brought out yet, but the monomer is Omega also. And I did put it in here just to make it easier to dip into. Their new bottles do not look like what I just showed you. They are easier to dip into without having to put it in something else. So I have that. And of course, a brush. I left this shape this way from the last time I used it. This is also a Nailite number 8 Kolinsky. 8 to 10 is always a good size for people who are just working at home. If you want to get a bigger one that puts the whole pearl down at once, your acrylic bead, go ahead. I don't know how to do that. I'm not that good yet. So, which would be awesome. Like whenever you go get your nails done, they just kind of put the tip on, they put that whole bead on there, and then they just kind of pat it out. I don't know how to do that, but you need a bigger brush. 8 to 10 is good. All kinds of files. Again, electric file if you like. This is 100 grit, and I only use it on my nails, so I can wash these, you can sanitize them, but these are only for me and only for my nails. That's why they look a little beat up, and I don't really care from one to the next. We have 100, 150, 180 grit. So 100 is for the acrylic, 150 is still kind of for your acrylic, 180 you can use on natural nails, which we'll be using to take the shine off our nail. A cuticle pusher. I like this one from Sally's. It looks different now, but I like it because I can scoop glitter and things or acrylic with this side and obviously do what we need to do with our nails on the other side. You're gonna need little dapping dishes, things to hold your monomer or hold your mixes or whatever. A buffing block. Is that it? So that's basic for what you would need. And of course, lint-free wipes are just little wipes. You know, cuticle oil. I am going to use a top gel because I am going to buff the nail surface only so I can seal the edge of the nail, the cuticle area, even though we're using dual forms, or because we're using dual forms, which I'm bringing mine out right now. These I got from AliExpress. I ordered another set. They were usable for like hundreds of times. So really one case of these should last you forever. But, you know, sometimes they start getting a little older. They don't work as well. It starts kind of sticking. Like right now, one of them was bent. The one I usually use, I guess I had trapped it in here bent, so I had to pick another size 5. What I am going to do today is like an almond or ballerina shape. And normally I just eyeball it, but I'm going to do this today. I'm going to take a Sharpie, and this is how I size it. You want to size it so that they're side to side wall, not smaller than your side wall, okay? You don't want it to be like up here. You need to be tucked right in there because even this side's a little bit big, but that's okay because once you put the acrylic, it kind of shrinks up a little bit because the acrylic is thick in there. And when you put it down, it's higher up, and then you can see that it's sized better. So do not leave it empty or open on the side. You need it to touch sidewall to sidewall. And I'm just gonna hold this on my nail right now. And I chose 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th line on these, they have little lines to be as long as my nails are gonna be. So in that midsection, I'm just gonna put a little line, and then I'm gonna bring it from there, just drawing it on so I know where I can stop. Where I can apply my acrylic that's still gonna give me a nice shape. And that's just so we don't have to put too much acrylic that it's just all over the place, and then later we have to file it off to make it a ballerina shape or whatever. So, or whatever you choose to do. So you can do that with almond shape, whatever, as long as you kind of have an idea of how it needs to taper in. That's what I'm saying, usually I eyeball it. Okay, let me put this to the side. I'm gonna make a little glitter mix, and I'll probably do it right now before we start prepping other things. So I have a little dapping dish, and I just need to make like silver. Remember I said I was gonna stick with the silver. So this is kind of like what I did the other day on my last Elsa nails. I'm just gonna take some of this mix that somebody had made for me, and I think I already added more blue in it. So it does have some blue flecks. It's kind of like a iridescent mix. And I'm gonna put some of that in here, a good amount of it. You literally don't need much acrylic mix or glitter mix. I'm gonna take a good amount of this though to make it more silvery. So this is just a microfine holographic glitter from Michaels. I'm gonna put a little tinsel in there. And this time I'm gonna put the acrylic in the mix. A lot of times I don't, or I dip into the acrylic and then I dip into my mix, but I want it to just go on as I use it. So I'm gonna put some acrylic in here too. And then I'm gonna take some of these holographic stars. That tinsel came from Hobby Lobby, I believe. These holographic stars I think I ordered from Diva DC, who is no longer in business. So I don't know if the stars are gonna show up though because of all the holographic, the silver that I first threw in there. So we'll see. But that's the mix. And this is a lot of mix. To be honest, it's probably too much because I'm only gonna use it on 4 nails, but that's okay. So what I normally do is half and half. So whatever acrylic I have, I put it the same amount of glitter. But today I might do a little less acrylic because it doesn't, I just need this to help me pick it up. So I'm doing a couple scoops. I know there's less acrylic in there than I probably need, but that'll work. Oh, I need this. I'm gonna put this to the side until we need it. Right now, just keep everything clean and cleared away. So I'm going to remove my nail polish. because I do have some clear polish on. I've already trimmed my nails all the way back, pretty much because whenever I took off my nails last time, I did a video, and my nails were pretty long and then they grew since then, and they were like out to here. Now I don't mind leaving a little bit of free edge when I do my nails, but that was too much, so I just trimmed them all the way back. Since I was gonna trim them, I'm not gonna trim them just a little bit and then, you know, it's kind of silly. So I'm just removing all of whatever polish I had there. Oh, I'm gonna mention I'm also gonna use the Mineral Silver by Super Nail. Even though I don't recommend mixing monomers and other, you know, different brands monomers and acrylics, this is already mixed and it's ready to go. And I love this one when I used it last time on my Elsa nail, so I really wanted to use it today. So as you prep your nails, all you're gonna do is, oh, wow, that's really fast, sorry guys, is push back your cuticle. And we're starting this fresh, so this is brand new here. Push that back, scrape off any skin that's really hanging on, and there will be some. And it's usually all over your nail, but since I did acrylics recently, it's not gonna be everywhere. If you have a cuticle remover you like to use, go ahead. I always feel like whenever I use cuticle remover, I end up getting lifting really bad because it leaves like chemicals or stuff on the back, you know, in the back, even if you try to wipe it off as well as you can. So I don't like using other things to do this. I just do it dry, just like this. And then we're gonna take that 180 grit file. You don't want to put a 100 grit file on your nail because it'll tear it up. And this is just to get the shine off, and my nails don't have shine anyway because I just recently was wearing acrylics. But it also helps the acrylic stick to your nails. So I really go around the edges and really at the cuticles where I focus that mostly. And we're gonna prep all the nails in the same way. And then you can take your dehydrator, cleanser. If it's not 2-in-1 like this, what you would do is you should have already sanitized your hands with the spray. And then this dehydrator will go on and remove all that little powder that might be left behind and also get your nail ready to go. Okay, so I'm gonna do this whole hand and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit because I've heard people say I'm too close. I don't wanna be too far because obviously we wanna see what's going on, but this is nice and clean from the last time I used it. I always clean them out, but make sure to sanitize your stuff. I'm just gonna take some of my monomer and kind of a good amount because I'm not doing a fill, I'm doing a whole set, so start to finish. So I need a little bit more, but you can always pour more in obviously, but do not pour anything extra in there back in your bottle. Okay, so this is the Omega. That's the new packaging for the bottle. It's pretty. And we're gonna take our brush and I'm just gonna dip it. See how bubbles just start coming out almost immediately? I'm gonna try to clean that off as well as I can. I know the last time I used it, I felt like there was a little bit of acrylic stuck in it, which hasn't happened in a long time. So, okay. All right, and then we have our clear. I'm only gonna do 2 types of nails. So one's gonna have the glitter mix completely, and the other one's gonna have the mineral silver completely. So I'm just gonna open both of these up just to have them ready. I have my windows open because that monomer, whew. I haven't looked into polygel and I probably won't, to be honest. I don't know. I don't really even like using gel, hard gel. So I know it's different and it looks fun, but it's just not my thing. So I'm gonna take the primer, I'm gonna apply it to all of my nails. Do not slop it on, try to be kind of careful with it. You really wanna wipe it off and you're just applying, some people just touch it to the nail because your nail just kind of sucks it up. But I'm gonna apply it on the whole hand, and then as I go along nail by nail, I'll add a second coat. And the reason I say not to just put it all over is because you can develop an allergy to this or to the acrylic too, so you always want to be careful to not really get it all over your hands, okay? So I'm gonna leave this open and ready to go. And let's do a thumbnail, even though I normally start with the other nails, but I'm gonna turn this over, so obviously we're gonna work in here. And I'm gonna quickly, and I always do this first, I'm gonna do this all glitter, but I always start off with some acrylic. And it doesn't have to be a super dry bead or firm bead, just kind of get some acrylic down. Because if you come in to file, you don't want to file into your glitter because that's gonna look horrible. So again, I'm kind of keeping it within the little parameters of what I drew there. I'm gonna wipe this off. I do that quite often. I'll let that form up just a little bit, maybe. Acrylic is so fun to play with because, like, to be honest, it's kind of interesting how it just works, or how it hardens so much and all that. So I'm just kind of patting that down, making a nice thin layer. And now I'm going to pick up some of the mix that we made and get that going kind of thinly if you can. Obviously you want it to be opaque, but at the same time later if you want to do a fill and this acrylic is back there, you're gonna have to really file it away. But always focusing on the cuticle area just to bring it all the way back because you don't want it to look empty on that back side. So I just pat it in there and then getting the shape that you want. If there's something big like those stars and you need them to show up, make sure you're pushing them into the forefront. Meaning you're gonna push them through so that it shows up on this side better. I can see a few there already. I'm gonna get my head in the way, sorry, maybe. And again, just keeping the shape. It's not super wet, not super dry. Just making sure it's all in that cuticle area too. I'm gonna wipe this down. I'm gonna turn it over and take a look. That looks pretty good. I see the little blue bits here and there. That's cute. And I'm gonna let that firm just a little bit, okay? Just so it doesn't move around on us when we go to put it onto the nail. So right now, I guess I can go ahead and put my second coat. And again, I'm just giving it a little time. It's kind of cold today, so it's not gonna firm up as fast. Now I'm gonna grab another bead. Again, hope you can see it's not too wet, not too dry, just a good consistency. I'm gonna put that down in the cuticle area. I'm gonna take one that's a little bit wetter so I can apply it at the tip. You're still trying to form a nice sturdy nail, but not too sturdy. Wow, the temperature really does affect how this is drying. It's still pretty darn wet. And I did a pretty good job of staying within my lines, but if you didn't, just kind of firm those up. And that should be ready to go on the nail. So I'm gonna put my brush down just because I don't want to hold it. And I push it all the way to the back of the cuticle and bring it forward. And then just give it some pressure. I'm putting more pressure on the cuticle than anywhere else. And then I'm gonna turn it over after a little bit. And just make sure that the nail still has a good form. If anything squeezes out that you don't want, just get rid of it. So I'm kind of pushing that away. So there's a little bit there. And push that away. It is really cold apparently because this is like liquid. So I'm gonna hold that there for maybe a minute, but since it is really liquidy. Again, if you have a lot that you want to remove, you can come in here on the sides. If anything's squeezing out, just use your tool to really get that crisp and clean. That's why we're gonna end up filing around that cuticle edge anyway, and the nail obviously. But just get rid of whatever you don't want, that way you don't have to file it later. Okay, and I'm gonna use my guides just to make sure it's still kind of where I want it. I cannot believe I have this much playtime with this. This is usually it's a little faster. Especially Omega, it's supposed to dry faster, that's what it's for. Okay, I'll be back in like 30 seconds or so. Okay, I'm surprised this is taking a very long time, but okay. So that's that. I only keep the pressure there just because I like to, you know, just make sure that it doesn't lift. Because it will, sometimes if you let it go, it'll start making little bubbles because it'll start lifting up off your cuticle, and that's horrible. So don't do that because then you'll have to redo it again because you don't want bubbles under your nail because that's going to cause possibly a little fungus, little something to grow in there, right? Okay, so the next nail, I'm going to, again, take some of my acrylic. Again, all out to the side. And this one, pretty much the same thing. I'm just using, if you can use a solid color or whatever you want, or just clear, you can do the same thing. You're just gonna build up your nail. Now again, I'm gonna wait for this to kind of settle a little bit. What I understand about acrylic is the warmer the weather, the faster it sets up. And it's pretty chilly this morning, it's like 50 degrees. But it's gonna be 80 degrees today, so I guess I could have waited until afternoon to do this. All right, I'm gonna grab some of this gorgeous color. I love it, love it, love it. You know, it's a little bit thick. I'm gonna add a little bit of acrylic to my brush and just rink it up towards the top. And we're just filling this in. Same thing, keeping your shape, or trying to keep your shape. And now I know I kind of have to wait for this to set up a little bit, so I'm not going to go in with the clear acrylic quite yet. I'm going to let that sit for like 30 seconds to a minute. I'll touch it and see if it's still a little bit wet, and then make sure, I guess I can give you some tips while we're talking. I don't have to pause. Make sure you're keeping it nice. See how it's not just filled in? Hopefully you can kind of tell. It's kind of empty in the middle. I'm keeping it up to the sides and up to the middle. Do not let it settle in just the middle, because the nail will be thick there. It just won't have a good form. So we're trying to always mind our C-curve that's already built into this. I was watching some old Yanni Sabella videos, the lady that made these, and she usually puts it on top of a nail tip. So, you know, that might... And that also makes the curve underneath the nail nicer, right? Because you have a nail tip on there. I don't want to fuss with all of that stuff, so I just don't do it. You can also use a nail form, like a sticker nail form, and go ahead and apply that under your nail. Place it like you would sculpt a nail, and then put this on top of it. So now you still have a nice underneath because that nail form is there. You're not too bad. It's still a little wet. I'm going to take a little acrylic this time because this nail... You have to be careful when you're using glitter mixes with your acrylic because they're chunky, right? And they have spaces and things, so you always want to make sure. So with this one, it's pretty much all acrylic because it's just a colored acrylic. And so I'm going to go ahead and place that. I already put my second coat of primer on there, as you saw, and I'm going to hold it down. And as I wait for this to dry and firm up, I'm just keeping my shape, minding the shape. And keeping it out from the middle of my nail. You don't want that to pull up either because you're still minding your C-curve, right? You want to keep that nice. Alright, so most of my nails are going to be this silver, and only 2 are glittery, and I'm going to continue working on them. And I'll be back when they're ready to pop off, because I'm just going to do the same thing. So just what you saw here, and again, if it squeezes out anywhere, if you have any excess here, come in and pull that away. Any excess on the other side, go in and pull that away. And just keep, with your brush, especially right now since I have so much work time, just make sure you're keeping your C-curve in there and trying to mind the shape. Again, the shape isn't the biggest deal because you can shape that, you can file that, but just to have less time is always good. All right, so I'm gonna let this go and I'll continue working with the other nails. So just a little mess here, I'm doing that last nail. So this one should be ready. You can kind of tell it feels cold. A lot of times it gets really hot, right? And it popped right off. And look at that, the shape is already kind of nice. Obviously we need to do more, but I think this one's probably ready, I hope. And that one's still a little bit warm, let me see. Yeah, this one's still a little bit warm. And this one I just did, so I'm not gonna do those yet. But what you were gonna do, because I'm just gonna finish this up so I can just move on and do the rest of them. I'm gonna move those. Oh, good job. I just spilled a bunch of that. Like I said, I didn't need all of it, so I guess it's okay that I spilled some, huh? Okay, so with these nails, what you're gonna do is take I'm doing the 100 grit right now because I wanna go in here and just push it away from your skin, in case you got any there. And we are going to file this straight, okay? I'm coming out of the sidewall and just straight filing. Get some of that extra. Again, get away from your skin, just attach to your skin at all. And then we're just gonna file the top straight. You can go in like this too, if you need it to be straighter, because sometimes when you're doing this, it ends up being like a little cockeyed there. But as you can see, I mean, that took a lot less filing than you normally would if you're trying to shape it after just making a whole dual form nail. And then I always like to kind of come in around the edges just to make sure that's a nice area. I'm not going to use the 100 grit on the very top yet. I'm going to use the 150 to come in around the cuticle. So sometimes you have like a little bump. And this one's actually pretty good, but you're still going to want to seal that off. That's kind of what that lady would call it. She'd say sellando, meaning like seal the nail. But basically you're going to try to get rid of anything that is sticking up in that cuticle area. And since I did that, we're going to apply gel polish on the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my buffing block and buff the shine off. And usually after I do this with all my nails, I go and I wash my hands. So I will do that after I am done here. If there's something that's sharp, you can buff that. And hopefully you can see the nail is pretty much the shape that we want. So I'm gonna do them all. I'm gonna go wash my hands and I'll be right back. I meant to clean this up before I continued with you guys, but oh well, I forgot. Okay, I just washed my hands. I'm gonna take a little purifier just to dehydrate the nail, just in case there's still a little wetness, like just regular water on here. I did want to mention, I kind of messed up my thumbnail here at the very base. There was a little chip that was kind of missing there. So all I did was just get my brush. I applied a little acrylic, like very little. I applied a little bit of glitter and I applied a little more acrylic on top, and then I just filed it down. Just like you would if you were just doing your nails, you know, and it makes it a lot easier. I did apply a little more primer because it was at the very base of the nail here. So I just kind of filled it in, and then just filed it. So you can always correct things if something doesn't look right. What's funny about this silver metal one is like it kind of faded away, and it's not what I was trying to do, but it looks okay. So I'm like, hey, why not? And I normally do both hands before I keep going, but my mom's here and I asked her to sit quietly in my, upstairs so that I can do the video. So I'm doing this one hand so I can let her know that she can come on down and we're good. So I'm gonna take my WAVEgel, top gel, and you can use just polish, whatever it is that you want to use. Again, thin coats. So I'm just gonna do this and cure it for 30 seconds because it's a 30-second cure with this one. But always cap the tip of the nail. And with these, you do want to make sure the sides are getting done too, just because it's very sharp and you want to get that going. And to keep that sharp edge, just make sure, again, it always should be a thin coat anyway, but do it super thin, super thin. And I'm gonna do my thumb for 30 seconds, and I'll do the rest of my hand for 30 seconds, and I'll be right back. And last thing, we're just gonna remove that sticky dispersion layer with the WAVEgel. They have a no wipe top coat, but this is a wipeable one, so we're just gonna remove that sticky layer. And I would always wash my hands again just because I just used something else that's gonna dehydrate your hands. So wash my hands, and then I would come in with some cuticle oil on top of and underneath. And that's it. So again, if you didn't really kind of shape the bottom, you know how I always take the brush and I'm shaping it as it's drying. If it wasn't difficult for you, or if you had a hard time with it, just go ahead and come in with your file. Hopefully you have a round file like this, and just turn it on and just zzz, and make sure it's nice and round in the back of your nails, okay? Because that also adds to the strength of the nail. And that's it, guys. So I'll have some pictures for you. Maybe I'll have pictures with the dress on, hopefully. And thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them there. I'll try and answer them. And I'll see you guys at the next one. What I was going to mention about the acetone, I forgot just before I go, is if you're going to do 3D nail artwork, just add a little drop or two into your monomer, because that helps the acrylic firm up. So as you're working with it with a smaller brush than this, obviously it firms up and it's easy to work with, and you can make your little flowers or whatever 3D artwork you're looking to do. All right, bye now. Guys, I came outside to take the pictures, but I just wanted to say, you know, I told you I don't like mixing acrylics with different monomers, and this hand, when I went to do it, I don't know why, the 3 gray fingers did not firm up. They were like rubbery and weird, and so I basically had to redo them with a lot less of the silver mineral and more of the clear acrylic, just like encapsulated basically better that silver mineral, whatever, super nail acrylic. So hopefully you guys like the 3D nail artwork. I did that basically because when I had to do this hand and I had to really add a lot more clear, it just looked horrible. They looked really bad. So I'm basically covering up areas where there was a lot more clear than there was the silver, and hopefully we can't tell. But my mom's like, well, maybe that makes it look nicer now that you're, because I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to leave the nails plain, but it does look a little nicer with the little flowers and the little rhinestones. And yeah, so again, I don't really like mixing things. Even with the NSI, it just, the Radiant White, took a lot longer, even though I put acetone, for it to firm up too. So just another tip of, you know, why I don't like mixing brands, but do what you like. Anyway, I'll have some pictures for you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye now.